Your Power, the Kathy Mao podcast. Today, I am so excited and honored to have Shanon with us. She is a personal coach and she leads with love, faith, and purpose. And she helps women map out holistic routines in order to feel self-empowered, fulfilled, and in harmony with their lives. And she literally is the ultimate example of living the bliss off life, which we will dive deeper. But every time I have a guest, I always have them come on, talk about their story. And today we're going to talk about her story with empowering herself, how she came about to become a personal coach, and how she started tapping into her spirituality. So, hey, Shanon, introduce yourself.
Hello. Hi, everyone. As the beautiful Kathy said, I am Shanon. I live in Los Angeles, been here for the last 7 years, but I'm originally from Chicago. So, welcome, everyone. Thank you so much, Kathy, for having me on. I'll just dive right in. Yes, I am a holistic lifestyle coach. I do help guide women in designing holistic routines that foster self empowerment, fulfillment, and harmony in their lives. So how I got into it, I've always had a passion for helping others. Like since I was a little girl, I used to go with my mom to the soup kitchens and help prepare and serve food to people who needed a warm meal. And it's always just been on my heart to help people and show up in a way with like a smiling face and just happiness because we don't know sometimes what people are going through, and if we can just help like make eye contact or put a smile on their face. Like I think that's what really got me into the work I've done, which now has been many years serving people in the health and wellness space. And it's crazy because for so many years, right? I've been doing it for like 20 years, like personal training and being a life coach and helping people nutrition and sleep. But now, Kathy, the last 5 years, which I'm so excited to dive into,
Yes.
is I've really helped people like in a more like purpose driven way by helping them reconnect to their own hearts. And it's so crazy? I got that message from my spirit guides.
What? No way.
Girl,
How did you get this
yes.
message from your spirit guides? We gotta talk about this because this is so cool. And if people, new listeners here, if you're not super spiritual, we all can tap into our spirituality. We all have spirit guides, just FYI, even if you don't see them or hear them. So it's so cool that you can tap into that. And in order to, I talk about this too in my podcast, is in order to actually tap in and talk to your guides, etc., you have to be at a high vibration. So, Shanon, you're at a high vibration. I love it. So share it with us. Share this with us.
Well, thank you, Kathy. It's been a journey for sure. Like growing up as an athlete, like there was just always so much pressure on winning or being the best at something. And the crazy thing is I've gotten older and the work, like the self-development and the teachers I've had, right? Before I knew that I had all these guides and angels protecting me and my higher self like watching over me, right? Like I I guess with the teachers and the self development, I learned to give myself more compassion, more grace for not being perfect at something, or, like as long as I know I've done my best, right? And like we aren't meant to be perfect. We're meant to make mistakes or quote unquote fail at something, as some people call it. But what's crazy? And this quote came for me, and you've probably heard this too, like failure, if you will, if you want to give it that word, it's just a redirection. We always have our North Star, right? And if we trust and believe that we will get there, we might have to take a detour or a reroute. But what's so beautiful knowing you have these guides and these angels that are watching over you, you're never alone, right? And
Yeah.
like the beauty in that and like trusting and knowing your intuition is always with us. I think that's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
The trust and knowing that whatever you're feeling inside, giving yourself that courage and that confidence to lean into it. And whenever you're feeling, it's not by accident, it's not a false feeling. And I think as I was working through that, that's really where my spiritual journey began, being like,
Yeah.
okay, I feel something, it could have been about a person, a thing, and then leaning into it and actually trusting, okay, my intuition is telling me something, my guides are giving me like
Yeah.
little like either they're nudging me, poking me, or pushing me into knowing there's something about this feeling that's not wrong.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it's began. Yeah.
That's amazing. So then how do you actually tap into your spirit guides, or how did they give you that message? Like, can you see it, or do they give you like little downloads of images? Because everybody has different superpowers, or
Mhm.
we all kind of have, we all have superpowers, but I guess one is more stronger than the others. Like, I guess all the, different gifts that we have. So how does yours work when you tap into your spirit guides or your higher self?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. This is a fun question because as I was growing up, like I thought my talents or the feelings I would get from my guides, the angels, like my higher self, like I thought it was like, oh, I'm an athlete and I'm good at these sports and that was it, right?
Yeah.
And I've always had like I want to say like my gifts of like connection, community, relationships, like that's really where I feel called to be in those spaces. And so I'll just say this real quick too as I go into this question. Like, I had to really, in about 5 years ago, being introduced to like things like human design and past life readings and energy clearings, like that was truly the beginning for me. And so it unwrapped and unraveled so beautifully my gifts and talents to be like, oh, I'm beyond an athlete. I'm beyond, just being a daughter or a sister or whatever. It was really like, oh wow, like I got some spiritual gifts. Like I got some things that I can really help people reconnect to their own hearts, which like I was saying in the beginning was told to me through an energy clearing
Right.
and some past life reading stuff, which is so fun. So I think for me it's like when I knew and gave myself, I guess, really got permission from my guides that it's okay, like you can really start tapping into your gifts, like it gave me like a sense of peace and freedom to be like, oh, these feelings aren't like from I mean, in a way, outer space, right?
Yeah.
The universe, but like they're not from like they're inside of me, and all I gotta do is give myself permission to release them.
Yeah.
So yeah, for example, like I'll be talking to you, Kathy,
Yeah.
right? And I think this actually happened in our when we were on the phone.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, to your point, like you were asking me, I get this download, right?
Yeah.
I feel this sensation of like it's like heat and
Oh,
tingling. Like that's what I get. And when I
amazing.
get it, and when I used to get it, I used to be like, okay, I used to almost ignore it or try to shove it down, like, oh, maybe I'm just really excited to like talk to this person, or maybe I'm like, but no, my guides made it very clear. I have a message for them, and you're the vessel, and I'm gonna use you to
Oh,
to reconnect to their own heart. So I think that's really where like the work I had to like trust the work was happening, and when I get these downloads, I've been starting to actually relay the information. I kid you not, Kathy. Every time I give somebody this information, their face lights up. Like it's like
aw.
I tapped into their higher future self
Yeah.
and had a conversation with them. And it came back to here right now and was like, are you supposed to write a book? Are you supposed to do this? I was told, and I've never, and it's cool because it's not like I'm looking for the reinsurance that I'm correct, but I've never been wrong. And
Right.
so that's when I knew it wasn't only like a just a nudge or a feeling, like it was an actual spiritual gift that I
That's so beautiful and so
have.
cool. And yes, it
Thank
did
you.
happen. I think we're on the phone and we're just talking to each other, and I was yeah, doing I was gonna give you a numerology guidance card reading, which we did, which was so fun. Um but you were telling me that that's something that I was supposed to tap into and do more of. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I was thinking about it. I was like, it's something that I enjoy so much. But I was like, am I really supposed to focus and do that? You're like, yes, dude, do it, girl. And I was like, and it lit me up. And see, like, you're just a giver. You're just, strive on always helping other people. And so when you can relate messages to others, it's just like a way of you just giving back and being your true authentic self. And it's just so beautiful to see and to live that, like my question for you though, because a lot of listeners may be new to their spirituality, like have you always been spiritual? Because I know some people may not even have readings done. They may not even like
Mm.
have, energy cleanses. Uh, like, have you always been in that spiritual, life or in that lifestyle? Or was there just like a period of time where you're just like, all right, I'm just gonna try all these spirituality things just for fun?
Really good question. I grew up as a Catholic, and so I've always been in the church. So I always had a connection to like a higher power,
Mhm.
which really jump started my spirituality. And so for a lot of years, I would go to church or I would, like do these volunteering that always I felt that like fulfilled sensation to just have community and connection. And then through college, I kind of continued to do that. And then I guess post college into like adult life, I was introduced, and obviously nothing's by accident. I got introduced to, like I was saying earlier, like things like human design. And like you said, like if somebody has never done a clearing or doesn't even know what human design is,
Yeah.
like I think being open to all the resources out there is a huge is I guess a huge eye opener because being from Chicago and being a personal trainer served a purpose. But when I moved to California, I kid you not, it's like the floodgates of all the resources of my spirituality just opened up and just presented themselves. And the cool thing about that, Kathy, is like I think for me, I I didn't know how open I would be until things started to come at me. And I was like, ooh. And I'm a very curious person. And I think we're all curious creatures. It's just like you have to kind of maybe be open to the fact that it might look different than maybe
Yeah.
being religious or, and obviously that's fine too. Like I believe in God. And for me, it's like I just knew there was so much more out there than maybe I wasn't giving the information as a kid or growing up in the church. And so when I started tapping in and having people come into my life, that introduced me to things like human design and past life readings. I got curious and I started digging and digging and digging deeper. Like, what else can I find out about myself? And then you and I connected, and
Yeah.
then you did your the numerology card reading on me, and that even opened up more of my
Yay.
world into my spirituality. And I think for me, if people haven't done or experienced the past life readings or the human design or something of that nature, like just start with one thing, right? If you know what your zodiac sign is, that's a good start. If
Yeah.
you're like, well, what does that actually mean? Like, I'm personally a Scorpio, but what does that mean? Have you ever like dove a little deeper into knowing, like how the stars and the moons align when you are born and all those things? And then maybe add on another layer. I feel like human design is a great thing that people should, me personally, think that you should know about yourself. So
Yeah.
then maybe add that layer on, and then maybe another layer and getting a card reading from you, Kathy,
Yeah.
because these gifts that people have are not meant to keep to themselves, which is beautiful. And then also the beauty of it all is like we all have our own individual spiritual gifts.
Yeah.
So something like you have, Kathy, is a beautiful thing that you get to share with others that they might not have, but they might have something obviously that they can share with you. So I feel like being very open to just kind of help, just slowly even take it slow and maybe layering on something that get curious. I think that my biggest thing is get curious. There's a lot out there that you got to be careful of because obviously there's a lot of psychics out there
Yeah.
that do beautiful work in mediums, but
Yeah.
just get curious. I guess that's my thing. Yeah.
Aw, I love that so much. That is so true. We should get curious and be open-minded. I think
Mm,
that's what we were taught at a young age is to be so closed-minded. Like we literally go to school to learn how to go to school a certain way, right? To not speak up, to act like a good kid per se, right? But we're not taught to like think curiously, and if we did they're like, no, you need to like learn math, and it's like problem solving is just one way, and it's beautiful to see that now it's different. Like I feel like the next generation, like my baby's generation, is more going to be more open-minded, which is so beautiful to see. Right? I love that so much. And this is exactly so true. We need to be curious, open-minded, and tap into our own powers. We all have our own gifts. And I loved how you said we should all share it with one another. Like your gift is a download. You told me the numerology card reading, and then I gave you one. Like And then that opened up some more spirituality within you. And it's like, this is the beauty of life, like connecting with one another, loving one another, seeing each other grow and, supporting one another in such a beautiful way. We need more of that. We literally need more of that. So, if all the listeners here obviously are in the same realm of wanting to help one another and maybe exploring and being open-minded, which is so cool. So, do you have any tips or tricks that you have learned through your spiritual journey or your journey with empowerment that you felt like was one of the catapults of like how it really shifted your life and changed the way you have dealt with hardships or anything like that in your life?
Yeah, I love this question so much. And Kathy, the beautiful thing is as you are just saying, being open-minded and being curious. Also, on the tail end of it, like say, you do what you do with card reading, the person on the other side has to be open to receiving, right?
Mhm.
And I
True.
think that's a huge thing too. It's like we want to help, like I know you and I, especially in our work, we want to help as many individuals and impact positively as many people as we can. But
Yeah.
you have to be, and it goes with hand in hand with open-minded, but also open to receiving. And I struggled with that for many years. I was always like giving, 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 giving,
Yeah.
and which answer will answer the next question, which is such a beautiful question. But then I was like, oh, it's okay to receive,
Yeah.
and I've noticed that when I started receiving, even yesterday, as simple as like my nail technician, she started like just kind of pouring life into me. And I just thought that was the most beautiful thing. And I just was able to, take a breath, take a beat, receive it. And then like she was so sweet to like add on an extra service at no charge, but
Oh,
I was open to receiving. And usually, like, no, 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 that's not fair. Let me like pay for it. But I had to be like, she's
yeah.
these are her true gifts. So
Yeah.
it goes hand in hand, right? Like we
Oh,
have to not only be open minded and get curious on our own spirituality, our own spiritual path and gifts, but we have to be open to receiving others.
oh, that's
And
good. Oh,
right,
you are
right.
so true. It just like lit up a light bulb in me because I'm not good at receiving. I'm so used to giving. And when I receive, like even people saying like, "Oh, you look so good today." Like before, I would be like, "Oh," like trying to be modest, like, "No, I just put this on. I just threw this on." Like a lot of us do that. We're not good at receiving, but today I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Like, Dad, look at me. I'm like, I got ready today, you know? And when you're good at receiving, also, that means you're sucking in the energy and all the positivity too that that person is trying to give you, right? The energy, everything's energy. So thank you for sharing. That's a good tip. Oh, that's a good one. What other ones
Thank
do you have for
you.
us?
Thank you. Yeah, it's so crazy. When I heard this, like find ways to fill your own cup, I was like, oh, that's easy. I love this. This what lights me up. This what brings me joy. But being an empath and being a giver, it's actually harder than you would think it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And so if I can just give a tip and like something that's really helped me is finding things, even if you start by writing them down. What are things that light you up? What are some passions? What are some hobbies? If you're like, I don't really know a passion of mine, right? But you have a hobby. You love, going on hikes or you love playing the guitar. Like, that's a great place to start, right? So
Mhm.
make a list. If I can, give some advice, just make a list on what brings you joy because we have to remember the law of attraction. We
Mm.
attract more of things that light us up,
Yeah.
right? And so if we can get that in a positive way, that snowball rolling of like, okay, what lights me up? What brings me joy? Start there, I would say would definitely be a good tip. And slowly but slowly, you'll find that your cup is being filled and you didn't have to like put any extra effort into it, right? It's just like, oh, this lights me up. I'm going to do more of that. Or, oh, that person really, like, I get great energy or I feel so full when I get off the
Yeah.
phone with them, like you, Kathy. Like, our
Yes.
talk, I could have went and ran a marathon after our call, okay? Because I was so
Great.
lit up with passion and joy.
Yeah.
And so if I can just say anything, like, for me personally, I'm in the season of doing less of what doesn't light me up and more of what really sparks joy in my life.
Love that so much. I love that. But a lot of us too, right, have a struggle of knowing what actually truly makes us happy. And I struggle
Mm,
with this because I'm a twin. And so I always grew up like, believing that whatever my twin did, like that's exactly what's going to make me happy. Like we were believed to be like halves and then we made one whole person. Obviously that's not true. Each are individual. But when I grew older, I was like, "Oh, I have to think for myself. Like I can't just go off of her energy and her thought processes and I just have to do everything myself." It was so weird. I was like, "I have to actually understand myself." It was really scary. And then I didn't really understand what made me happy. And then now
mm.
I'm slowly in my like self-discovery phase of like, oh, I found out flowers truly make me excited and happy. Before I was like, do I really like flowers? I mean, they're pretty, but do they excite me? And I was just like little weird things like that. And I'm like, wow, actually flowers are so beautiful. Like they're little miracles and you see like little bumblebees now on it or whatever. And so I'm starting to see like the beauty of life and it's a wild journey, but you being so confident, I'm sure it's different. But for others like me who struggles finding how you really are happy with that thing, like did you ever feel like it's something hard for you to figure out too when you were in your self-discovery phase of like what truly made you happy and having to set boundaries, or did you notice like you were a people pleaser, or were all these things that our society taught us at a young age? Did you feel like you had to overcome any of that?
Oh, yes. Honestly, it has been a journey, right? And you touched upon two really important things for me personally that hits home and resonates is boundaries and people pleasing.
Mm,
I like to call myself a recovering people pleaser, even though it's still a struggle, It's like every day I'm like, and I think it comes back to what I was talking in the beginning is like being intuitive, being in tune with our own bodies and our own like reconnecting not only to your heart but your soul,
mhm,
right? Like whether it's like if you get the chakras or you need your chakras, realigned, and if there's so much beauty out there that people have these gifts that you could go out in resource, but guess what? We all have the answers inside of us. So I think another thing for me, Kathy, is like when I find stillness and I quiet the noise, whether that's outside distractions, inner distractions, when I quiet the noise and I take time for me, and that could be laying down and listening to music or going out in nature and going on a walk,
mhm,
like I think for me, because I know it can't, and it has, like I said, it's been a struggle with boundaries and people pleasing. Through the years, I've noticed, like, if it's not a heck yes, like this really, really lights me up, like, intuitively sit with it for a second. Like, say somebody invites you to an event, right? And
mhm,
it's your friend. So you feel almost obligated to say yes. But this doesn't really light you up. Say it's an event about makeup, and makeup is great, but say you're like, oh, I don't, like I'd rather go, do something else. You got to sit with it for a second. Be like, this is a friend and I want to support, but I'm going to have to say no because I need to take my me time or I need to take a moment to maybe just rest.
mhm,
Right. And I think that was the hardest thing for me, Kathy, is being like, even if I say no to this friend, like my friends, and that took time too, right? Is like they'll get me and they'll understand why it's a no. It's not personal. It's just maybe like, oh, instead I need to rest, or hey, I'm gonna sit this one out, but like you and I should go on a walk at another time because they are a friend. And I think I had to work through the boundaries and the people pleasing, saying I can't be all places at once, right? And I also have to protect my energy, right?
yeah,
Because to be able to show up as a teacher and a coach, like we have to have, like I said, filling your own cup and being able to like serve others in the overflow. Like you need to make sure if it's not a heck yes, in my opinion is a heck no, and that's okay.
yeah,
Like that's okay, right? So I think giving permission to like be me and really feel into my, what am I feeling, the sensations of my body when I'm saying yes and it's a no, or I'm not sure. So I sit with it. right? And take a moment to take a beat, and that's okay. But prioritize your needs and wants. Like they're very important, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good tip. Thank you for sharing that because a lot of us don't set boundaries or we are just so good at people pleasing and we just don't want to, I guess, disappoint others, you know? But you're disappointing yourself in the end. And who are you living for? You're literally living life for yourself, for your sole purpose. So why not live it to the fullest and happiest that you can be, you know?
Yeah.
One thing I would like to tap on though, we were talking about manifestation, and you said you've been manifesting so crazily, like lately, and I need you to tell people about this because this is awesome and insane, and I want people to know that manifestation does work, and if you're literally at a high vibration, and I told you this, like you're at a high vibration, you're going to keep manifesting and attracting all the stuff that you want. So tell me about your manifestation journey lately, because you said you did a vision board and you do vision boards. So yeah, how does vision boards help with manifestation?
They're so powerful, Kathy. And I've always like been open to the idea of a vision board, but then I would just do it because like that's what things like people did, and you do it at the beginning of the year. And I was telling a friend on the phone yesterday that I recently just finished my vision board.
Ooh.
And I think what's really empowering, definitely self empowerment, that vision boards can happen at any time of the year. Like when your year starts, it doesn't have to be the beginning of the calendar year. You can be in a season that maybe you're just shedding off from last year and you're stepping into your now more authentic true self, and you need a little bit of a space to feel into what do I really want to manifest this
Yeah.
time in my life? What do I really want to call in? What would truly make me the best version of myself? So I did a vision board and I finished it only a couple months ago, and it's May. But guess what? That was when my year begins, right? My calendar, my trip around the sun. And so for me on my vision board, I love there's a few simple pleasures of my life, and that's wine. I love to work out. I love people. I love traveling. So all of my vision board literally is wine vineyards, Italy, like connection. Like I'm just looking at it right now, and there's a few things that have already came to life. And it's such a beautiful thing when we as beings have the power to manifest whatever we want in life, and whatever desires are on our heart, we can make become reality. Like when people say living your dream, like you can dream it and then live it. You don't always have to live to dream or dream to live. You can literally have it all. And I think the beautiful thing about manifestation, and what I manifested recently was my trip to Italy that I'm going to next month,
Yay.
is right. How exciting is that? And I think it's so cool because I didn't know this until now. And the more I can manifest, I know that I've been planting the seeds for years now. So sometimes it can take years, sometimes months, sometimes days, sometimes minutes, depending on how much and truly you want to manifest something into your life and call it in. And the universe, what the beautiful thing about the universe is, we co create. We're not meant to do anything on our own, right? We are co creating our lives. And when we know that we can create whatever our heart desires that we want, it can become yours. So my trip to Italy, even though I'm like, at first it was just like, oh, that'd be really cool to go to Europe. Oh, that'd be really cool to take a trip to Europe or to Italy. My family literally is from Calabria, like this, I'm Sicilian, like those areas, and I'm like, this would be really cool. But then I think the power of manifestation is not only knowing it, believing it, speaking it, and then
Mm.
truly bringing it to life, right? And so that's kind of like the journey I'm taking. And it could be as simple as a parking spot to manifesting a trip to manifesting a life partner. I truly believe that anything that somebody wants to call in and manifest and make true for their life, they can make it happen if they truly believe it can happen.
I totally believe that. I believe that because that happened to me. I truly wanted to be a mom, and then I was fertile for like 2 years, and I made it happen. I took action. I changed my diet. I did all these things, and I manifested my little baby girl, So that's why exactly what you said. And you're taking action too. You're not only speaking it to the world, but what are you doing too every day? You're raising your vibration, you're putting positive words out there about like your trip. You're taking some form of action, not like, trying to control the situation too. Like, I want it this way and I want it to happen this way. And that's not how manifestation works. I want people to know that it just comes if you let the universe do their magic, because it doesn't have to just be that one avenue, right? There could be 1,000 different ways of getting what you want. And just like that, I did IVF. I got a miscarriage. I thought I was gonna get pregnant that way. Nope. God had even a better way for me. I got pregnant naturally, like 2 months after my miscarriage. So see, it's beautiful. Like when I let go, I was like, okay, universe, I don't care anymore. Just like I don't want to think about pregnancy. I don't care. And then it happened. It's wild. And then
Mhm.
you didn't expect your Italy trip too, right? It came out of nowhere, like, right?
Yeah, and you said the magic words, letting go. I feel like that is so powerful and we don't give it enough credit. Like when we truly let go, and you could say the term of like let go, let God, if that is, or the higher power or the universe, but like let go of control of, like you said, what you wanted a baby. You got a beautiful baby girl. But I think if I can use this as you and as an example, like letting go of control of maybe how she was gonna come to earth, right? How your soul baby was gonna come.
Yeah.
And so I think there's so much power and beauty of letting go of control or expectation or whatever, because that could be really hard on the inner peace, like your like inner peace, like there's just so much beauty, and I mean, that's a whole other podcast in itself, is like letting go and truly trusting universe that has your back, because that was a huge one for me. When I saw a quote that said the universe has your back, I'm like, you know what? That's right. And so now it's like knowing that I'm not in this alone, and like literally have my guides, my angels, the universe, God, like all like in my corner. There's so much freedom in that, and so much beauty and peace in knowing like not only do I take day by day, but to your point, manifesting something you truly desire can come true, but you gotta let go of control and surrender, honestly. Yeah.
That's hard. That's one of the hardest
Woo!
things for me to do, right? A lot of us struggle with this. It's not just one person struggling with this. Again, a lot of us we're learned and taught to try to stay in control. And the more you control the situation, the better your outcome is going to be. No, that's the opposite. So doing manifesting and being in your spiritual side, self-development is like a lot of inner work, I believe. Like you do it daily. I'm sure you do a lot of inner work. And what are the things that you do on your daily basis? Do you like meditate? Do you go for walks? Like what is Shannon's day-to-day look like?
I love this question so much because, again, letting go of control of what I thought I was supposed to like, as I guess as an athlete and as a coach, like I always had structure and I always had routines. And then I wanted to become a rebel, and like I wanted to go against all those structure and all the routines, and I'm like not, putting hour by hour in my regimen calendar. And you know what? It gave me so much freedom too, to know that if I wake up intuitively, and yes, I have my coaching calls and I have times that I have scheduled times with people, when I wake up, Kathy, it looks different every day. And I think there's so much beauty in knowing that you can wake up and say, take a breath. Thank you, God, for waking me up today. What do I need today? How can I show up and serve? But first, I need to take care of myself. So that could look like just taking a couple deep breaths, giving gratitude. I give a lot of gratitude to my guides, my angels, God, the people in my life. Kathy, connecting, with you is a huge one. And like for me, it's like moments of gratitude. So after that, then I might make myself a cup of coffee. I might look at emails. I might go for a walk, and so ways that really fill me up and bring so much joy to me are the simple pleasures. I want to say simple because you don't have to get in your car and go somewhere. You don't have to, you literally can do it within your own home or within your own self. Like you can just take a deep breath. Like I need to just start doing that throughout the day because every time I take a deep breath, I'm like, God, that felt good, and it can be is I like to say as simple as that, but also like I just feel like it's important to my day by day is important to take some pauses throughout my day. It's important for me to rest when I need rest and know that like intuitively ask myself, what do I need right now? Do I need a nap? Do I need a walk? Do I need to call a friend? Like I check in with myself on a moment by moment basis to be like, what do I need? And
Mhm.
every time I have that conversation and I believe it from my soul and my guides guide me. And I live my life in a lot of peace now because of that. So that's kind of my day to day. It
I
kind of
love that.
an ebb and flow,
I
Depends,
love
yeah.
that. You're like living life to the fullest. You're living in the present moment. You're not thinking of the past or what you need to do. You're just like, okay, how do I feel? Checking in with yourself, doing the things that are lighting you up. That's so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of this amazing tips, all your knowledge, and sharing your great, amazing energy with us. I seriously believe that you are the greatest example of living the bliss soft life, which is a concept that I have, that I got download from. You get downloads.
Mhm.
I got that one download from my
I
guides.
love
And
it.
if people don't know what living the bliss soft life is, it's about living in your power, knowing you're this true, amazing being like Shannon. She knows she has all these gifts. She's tapping into her spiritual side. She's loving herself. She's giving her space and time to do the things that light her up. And this is what living the bliss off life is. It's full of bliss, happiness, contentment, joy. And
Mhm.
life is so soft when you're living this way. So this is what I call
Mm.
the bliss off life. So thank you for being that true example that it does exist and you are that person that is practicing this every day, so thank you for that. And last but not least, before we end, how can people find you and find your services that you provide, and if you can give people the information so they can go and find out how amazing you are.
Thank you so much, Kathy, for today. It's honestly like, I'll just say this quickly. It's been quite the journey, but I am living closer to the bliss, that bliss, like the full life, like you said, the BS life. And one thing that helped me and so freeing is knowing that the answers are already inside of us. So maybe do some soul searching, maybe work with a coach. Kathy, you do your card readings now and I'm a holistic lifestyle coach. So you can find me on Instagram at SB Connect. And I have my own website called it's Shanon Beelendorf at heal.me. So that's where you can find me if you want more coaching or just want to, connect. I love connecting, creating, collaborating with other entrepreneurs or other people that like we can brainstorm ideas. I get downloads, like I said, as I talk through with people on a call. So if you're looking just for guidance or, support and your business or anything that you're maybe struggling with, work life, that balance or anything personal or professional, definitely send me a direct message. I would love to connect and just help inspire you and help guide you as a coach and as a friend. So I am extremely grateful. And like I said, nobody's meant to do anything themselves, and we all have the spiritual gifts inside of us. So let's go out there and impact the world and empower and enlighten because who doesn't want a life filled with enlightenment, right? Like that's what
Yeah,
life's all about.
love this. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.